Westchester Education Services is a full-service development vendor that brings high-quality materials to educators and students. We author in all major subjects, including ELT and social-emotional learning. We create engaging visual elements that augment the text, and we ensure that the projects finish on time and on budget. Our teams are staffed with former educators and industry veterans. Westchester is a U.S.-based, employee-owned company, so each team member is invested in what they create. We work with publishers and ed tech companies of all sizes, with an emphasis on supplemental products. And we're committed to ensuring that educational materials are inclusive for all learners.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the discussion today about what Westchester can do for you. My name is Dave Bailis. I'm the Senior Director of Operations here at Westchester Education Services, and my team is the team that develops what you need. And with me today is Mark DaGrossa, our Design Director. Want to talk a little bit about yourself, Mark?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark DaGrossa. I'm the Creative Director for Westchester. And my job is to try to make everything that comes out of our place into your place as nice looking as possible. It's very simple.
Thank you, Mark. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Westchester and the teams that make up the Westchester operations team that build the products for you. And then Mark is going to talk a little bit about the design and the production teams. And then we're going to have some time for question and answer. So let's go into, let me talk a little bit about Westchester Education Services. How I got here, I was the math and science teacher for the better part of a decade here in Illinois where I live. And after that, I got into the development side of materials. And after working at a couple of large publishers and a couple of small vendors, I found myself here at Westchester, brought by our president, Kevin Gray. So let's talk a little bit about what Westchester Education Services can do for you. Who we are. So we're U.S. employee owned, which means that everybody that works for Westchester has is very interested in how successful we are. So it's a group of people that cares very much about the quality of the work they're doing, about getting it to you on time and trying to find your voice and what you need for the project. And so being an employee-owned company is even more into how important the work is for us. The main headquarters for Westchester Publishing Services, which we call our legacy side, is in Danbury, Connecticut. And they have an office in Chennai, which helps support the development of college, work with college publishers and journals of all kinds. Westchester Education Services started about 4 years ago, as opposed to Westchester Publishing Services, which started about 50 years ago. Westchester Education Services started because people were asking, hey, do you guys develop product? I was thinking we were trying to start building a math book. Do you have the people that can do this? And so Paul Krecka, our CEO, went out and found a wonderful president, Kevin Gray, and he brought this amazing team together. And they're headquartered in Dayton, Ohio, which is where Mark is. And we also have a small team in Noida, India, to help with some production. So Westchester is capable of producing essentially anything that you need. We have a development services in the core 4, social studies, ELA, math, and science. And we also do a tremendous amount of work in social emotional learning and diversity, equity, and inclusion reviews, as well as a large ELT amount of ELT work. So that's who we are and where we are. I'll talk a little bit about our leadership team. Like, as I said, Kevin Gray started it all. He's the president and chief content officer for the Westchester Education Services side. And like I said, I'm Dave Bailis, Senior Director of Operations. I started at the company as the STEM guy, but I moved into this role to help develop the products that you're looking for. The editorial teams are split into 3 different groups. We have Ann Riccio, who has worked for a variety of large publishers and development houses, as well as for Fontenay Pinnell. She was the final word before the books went to Fontenay Pinnell for the final review. So I'm very proud to have Ann on our team. She's the senior supervising editor for literacy and humanities, so she does the ELA and social studies. Tim Yatsina, who I've worked with at a number of publishers and vendors, is our local expert on math and science. He is actually one of the foremost experts for NGSS development at the K5, K8 level, and we're very proud to have him on our team as we have a large number of STEM products, and we always do. So that's Tim Yatsina, is our STEM supervising editor. On the ELT side, we have Walter Henderson, who's in France. So we truly are a global company. He's in charge of making sure that all of our ELT and world languages programs, including translation, run smoothly. Walter has worked in many, many state departments, anywhere from the Middle East to Mexico and South America, Central America. Amazingly diverse background, and it really shows in all of the wonderful products that he makes. On our other services that we provide, obviously project management in some ways is the most important part, because communicating our team's ideas and your team's ideas and making sure that it all runs smoothly is the job of Roger Market, our senior project manager. He's wonderful. We've had so many wonderful comments, so many great comments from our clients on how communicative he is and how well the schedules are built and followed. And in the end, he's really the engine that makes sure that we deliver what you need on time. So, and Mark, who introduced himself, is a creative director, a lot of experience in the field, and he is definitely somebody who always knows a wonderful resource that could be used to develop what you're looking for, whether it's finding videographers in Mexico, or working on a medical website, or developing animation processes. He knows somebody who can do anything. Chris Herforth is the head of our production team. He's worked also for a long time in the industry, has so much experience developing such a wide variety of production, both print and digital, and really has a wonderful mix of resources, both stateside and in India, to deliver what you need for the price that you need it for. Nilofer Ali is a wonderfully important part of our team. She does a large number of things for us. First and foremost, she is our resources manager, and I've worked at several vendors that did not have this role, and she makes sure that the resources that we use are vetted, that have the experience and the talents that we need, and make sure that we have a consistent amount of new people added to the resource list to make sure that everything stays fresh. She is also the head of our diversity, equity, and inclusion project within the company, which Kevin and her started several years ago. And we sort of feel like we're really on the cutting edge of this. Obviously recently there's been a tremendous demand for culturally responsive education reads. And recently we've done a ton of projects where we've read over the materials to make sure that they are responsive and follow appropriate DEI standards. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, we have a lot of experience in it, whereas a lot of our competitors are just starting to put their teams together. Nilofer and Kevin have put some spectacular resources together, and you could just get in there and talk to us about it. We're happy to help in that area. So Nilofer, amazing at both DEI and finding resources. And then our sales team, Tyler Carey, who's our Chief Revenue Officer, and Tim Cross, who is one of our business development managers, as well as Carol Wilson, who just started with us recently and is the Director of Client Solutions. all wonderfully knowledgeable people that can help match up what you need with the resources on our team. And so give any of them the contact information for the company will be put in the chat at the end, and they are exactly the people that you start with the conversations with. They handle the contracts and invoicing and all the stuff that we need. So it's an amazing team. I always call them the dream team, and I know that is oft used, but in this case, it actually is true. I have worked at a lot of places, and I've never worked with a team like this before. It's truly amazing. Some other partners that we work with, depending on need, one of them is FableVision. FableVision Studios is a longtime company. They work out of Boston. Their main offices are right at the harbor there. They haven't been throwing tea in the water or anything like that, but they're right there in the harbor. And they help us if the client is looking for some high-end design, video, animation work, FableVision is absolutely our partner to develop those materials. They have developed materials for the U.S. government, for the National Science Foundation, and National Geographic, a number of groups, and so we really trust them to help us on those. Another one, earlier this week I was on with our Learnosity partners. We're an important Learnosity partner for developing all types of items and programs, activities with the Learnosity platform. Everyone on the team is well-trained and well-versed in the Learnosity platform, and so if you are looking to develop something in Learnosity, Westchester is definitely the place to come. However, not to sell ourselves short, we have other groups that we work with in terms of video and animation besides FableVision, and we can develop items, activities, and a large number of digital products in not just Learnosity, but a huge number of learning management systems. In fact, just today, I was working with teams that were developing in 4 different ones, Learnosity only being one. How can we help? Like I said, I've never been in a place that has so much diversity in terms of its talent pool. And we obviously can do all the print products, but please look at us for digital, both in education sector and out of it. A lot of our team has had experience in the K-20 education space for years and years, as well as some commercial materials outside of that K-20. We do a large amount of development, and I forgot to mention this before, we do a large amount of development also in CTE, so careers and technical education. We also have a nice large team for that, and we perform all sorts of things, both creating textbooks, working with the teams to create online platforms and a lot of online learning, which, as you can imagine, has been really hot in 2020. So a lot of programs that we can help with that. So if you're looking to develop a program, digital, print, or some sort of mix of the two, whether it's in education in the K-8, K-12 education space or beyond, Westchester can help you do it. Here are a couple of projects that we worked on for ELA content development, and I don't want to take too much of our time today, but suffice it to say, the team that we have can develop anything you need. It doesn't matter what grade level, and it doesn't matter how the material is presented, whether it's digital or whether it's print. So again, a lot of math, a lot of science, a lot of ELA, and a lot of social studies. Everything from developing exams to full textbooks and everything in between. And like I said, ELT and bilingual content development, this is obviously a huge part of what we do, and Walter's group does a wonderful job doing that. Mark's going to talk about a couple of those projects. Social studies, same thing. Anywhere from working with the UN to develop a student handbook, all the way to large social studies texts and online delivery of those texts. And art design and production, which Mark is going to talk about next. And a little bit of information which will also be put into the chat at the end. So Mark, what do you have to say for the design and production parts of Westchester, now that I've blithered on for all this time?
Well, you covered most of it, so thanks, Dave. I'm going to bring up some samples that we have actually worked on here at Westchester, and just talk about some of the case studies and some of the things that we think about and ponder for your projects as we go through these. Like Dave says, we do pretty much all aspects of creating the books and materials, be it digital, be it print. I'm about to talk a little bit about our production team first and show some samples of that. Our production team is very, very experienced in creating templates and production-ready files from a client's files. So if you've got something that is a design prototype, and we are completely comfortable in getting that to the point where we have production templates and ready to go, and our steps and process for everything and look at everything along the way is how we work through our projects. So this first one here is a very large book that we have worked on, and it's really made for personal trainers. It's a class, or it's a book that they sign up for in a program, and they get this almost like this training book for them. So a massive amount of pages in one book. The design was supplied by the client. So in this case, we follow the client's design. We do a few things along the way. Obviously, a client design is not going to cover every scenario that popped up. So we, between the production design teams, we say, okay, this is kind of how we would handle a 2-page spread or 3 or 4 head treatments, that kind of thing. So we've done quite a bit of that kind of product. Again, this is for and it's a very exciting math book. This one again was several grades through. The design was supplied by the client, and we supplied many art pieces and flowed the actual book from the manuscript. This is kind of like what's our bread and butter stuff. A lot of times the manuscript is supplied by the client. We also have a tremendous group of writers if we need to write the content from scratch. So what we've come across with, and the way we work with a lot of our clients, and what we've come to know is the clients, you guys love your product. You've been working on your product for a year, 2 years, and a lot of our people have never released anything for someone else to do. So we're like the first babysitter that you get. So you've been working on this beautiful project, and now it's time either to expand it or add other grade levels or just whatever you need. So I know you're very apprehensive about passing it off, giving it off, but that's one of the things we do. We really try to get into your heads, get into the project heads, try to figure out what you're thinking as you're doing it, and then we try to get ourselves up to speed so like we're in the same mindset. And then this product, this baby you've been working on, you are completely comfortable with us working through it with you, and the end result is fantastic. This is actually a GIL job. This is a UK job. We had done the design, and again, what we do for design, we usually do 2 to 3 options on as many spreads as we need to get the design across. A few sets of revisions. We get to an end product, and then we pass this on to our production team, who then takes and creates production templates, and those are what they use to flow the pages. So this is a project that we did that process pretty much went through. A lot of our stuff is black and white. Again, same client, GIL. Design was supplied by them. Manuscript was supplied by them. And this beautiful book was the result. This is one of those projects that they came. We have a good working relationship with them. They said, hey, can you guys do this? We're kind of in a pinch. We make some phone calls. We get people lined up, and this thing gets produced. Another project, different grade level, another version of their book. You can kind of see how it flows real nice. The design is very, very nice, and we are comfortable working with, like I say, the client's design, the client's manuscript, and whatever piece you need us to do for you. Same vendor or same client, and just another one of their products. There we go. Now this is a music book that one came to us and said, I don't like we need a refresh look. We want a complete redo of the design. So we have some things to think about on this. First, it's black and white, and it is for music teachers. So they actually sell these into these schools through the music teachers. So in this case, some of the fun things that we had worked around was we were choosing some of the photos for the images, and we quickly found out that we did not have the knowledge to help with some of the photos. So we work with them on these photos for selections. There's no bleed on this, so the printing is cheaper. So it just works out very well, very nice for them. They loved it, and we print 5 of these or 6 of these a year, and it goes through, and it's very, very nice and smooth. This is a TCM job. So what we did was the editorial and production project. Our editorial team jumped in, worked on quite a few things, got the manuscript up to speed for everybody, and then our production team laid out the pages based on the client's design for this one. Same with this one. Very nice. Pretty much same process, just one of the other different ones. Okay, let's see here.
As you can see, a great amount of diversity within the projects, not just large companies, but also smaller companies. The music magazine is an excellent example of how our team is able to turn on a dime and do something that is a little bit outside of a lot of companies' comfort zone. So Westchester is absolutely your group to come to for that.
Very nice. This is a company where they had a rough template for. So what we had to do here was actually do all the art research for them. So when we do the art research, we need to think about, well, in this case, it's a UK company. So we have to make sure that say we do a photo or an image of a car. We want to make sure that the steering wheel is on the right-hand side, or the wording is correct, what they call something and we call something different. So we do have a editorial team kind of look through these things and go, you know what, this is great, or you know what, this doesn't quite fit to that market. So we did all the photo research, all of the Photoshop work, laid out the pages, and again, a couple revisions, and we've got several pages of these books. All right, this is an insurance book, so it's more of the adult, obviously the end user is insurance salesmen in their classes, that kind of stuff. So when we designed this, obviously it's not a K-12 market. It's definitely an adult class. So we want to keep the fonts nice, more a little bit more adult oriented. The colors are the grayscales are clean, crisp, easy to read. Lots of places for notes. So they wanted all the pages so the students could write off the side what they needed to. And when we say students, it's actually adults in these classes. So this was a brand new design for them. Again, we researched any of the images they needed and came up with the design, made a few edits, changes to the design, and this is the final product. this is a book that we had worked on. For this one, again, we created the design from scratch. This one here had a little bit more difficulty due to the point where it was the way they wrote the manuscript. They didn't write from basically a writer's template or a page template. So they wrote what they felt like they needed to write. Well, the end result, if we flowed all their manuscript, it would be about 750 pages, about 300 more than they budgeted for. So in this case, we went in, we readjusted the design a little bit. We worked with their editorial team to cut quite a bit out and readjust some of the art, how it flowed, and we got it down to the page count where they're happy with. So it came out real nice. We also did the photo research and then customized some of the art as needed. This is a book that is actually sold on Amazon. It's from a series of books from Learner, and a lot of sports books, a lot of that kind of stuff. So this one is on the Stanley Cup Playoff. This was very, very exciting and fun, as the photo research and the editorial team really had to work together, because you couldn't just write something and then find out and you just couldn't find a photo if you couldn't find any manuscript or any kind of information to go with it. So it was really a nice function between the two teams, getting the photo to work with enough content to work this out. Now we took their rough design, their initial design, and then we laid the pages out. Their cover was kind of a few versions of the cover, so we went ahead and designed the cover, the intro pages, the front map, with some of their previous books in mind. And that was really a nice book. It's funny because we had kind of to wait. We were done with the book, but we had to wait to see who won the Stanley Cup that year. So it was kind of being held off for a winner. So this is for Age of Learning, who is one of our best clients. We really enjoy working with them. They give us a lot of different fun activities. So we do a series of reading books for them. Now these are digital books that are all online. So as the students are reading, the text is highlighted. They have certain buttons that are hot, and they have certain items that you can touch and it'll animate and make a sound. So these are actually digital books. These are all customized illustrations. So the way we work for these kind of projects is we have a thing called a VVC. We call it a verbal visual conference, where we get an art buyer or an art researcher, a designer, and then an editorial person all in the same room. And we really kind of sketch out what we want the page to roughly look at. So the editorial says, you know what, this really needs to be one long day, or we have to make sure that it's a summer day, or make sure this is shown. And then the art can take notes, make sure the hot points are covered, and then the designer roughly does a rough sketch, and then we basically choose an illustrator that we feel has the great style to match this storyline. In this case, we had about 50 different books, and each content was slightly different. So we want to obviously have a different illustrator. So when the students are looking through the pages and pulling different books off their digital library, the book looks different to them. And that's kind of where we want to be. So we have a giant group of artists that we work with, and it just all depends on the content and what we're looking for that book, or which one we choose. Again, another book. So same client, same thing. Just I put a few of these up here because I think art looks just fantastic. It's just beautiful looking art, and it came together so nicely. It's very nice. And we have another one. You can see the styles are different. The text breaks differently, and it just becomes a nice visual for the students to look at. Now, because these are digital, we don't have to worry about bleeds or CMYK. Everything can be RGB and nice and bright, and we don't have a gutter issue. Even though they're kind of laid out much like a spread is, there's no gutter because these are never printed. It really makes for just a nice, almost poster-like look. Same client, but one of their other projects is this giant mass of infographics that they do. So we love their infographics. Our editorial team takes a rough outline from the client, and they write the content based on the points that the client wants. So we have an editorial team writing on these. They're writing them in infographics, and then we take the manuscript and we design the infographic based on what the content is. So in this case, they're brightly colored. They're fun to look at. They're freestanding pieces, so they don't have to really go with anything else. Each one is its own, say, poster thing. Again, these are digital, so they would be shown on the iPad or your laptop or your phone, whatever the student is using. But these are pieces that fall into their other online components. So just, again, really fun stuff. Different looks, different feels. Because they are freestanding, they don't have to look like the same family. So we can have different font usages. We can have different head treatments. We can break out things. In this top example, very graphic novel looking things with shadows. And then the second one here almost looks like a National Geographic kind of look, where it's very image driven, and that background with the hand holding the I think sea urchin is just dominates the whole thing. So it's very, very nice like that. Again, I have a few of these in here because I just think they look fantastic, and they make a great display when they pop up on your screen. So a lot of the subject matter on these infographics, they can be from science, they could be from how words are made, history of letters, all over the subject matter. So the writers really had to pull out all stops to try to find the subject they needed to hit the content. So, and in this case, beautiful image of the rover down there. The second one, great image of the rocket ship. Just makes real nice images. Another client that has a kind of a different approach to things. In this case, they if you look at the text, it's Spanish and English. So actually, the client wanted a Spanish or a Mexican writer from Mexico to write the tales, these folk tales, based on the real folk tale that they heard growing up. So, and then they wanted the Spanish text to be first, the English text to be second, and it does mirror each other, as well as the illustrator that we used. So the illustrator from Mexico. So in this case, both players, as well as the Walters team, they're authentic in knowing these stories. They grew up with these stories. So it's a very fun and nice project to do. So we had 4 of these books to do in the series, and our illustrators we picked had different styles. Again, we wanted a different look and feel for each one. So this is one of the books, and this is another one of the books. So again, we've got the Spanish in the front, English in the second page, and just beautiful images in between that we have sketched out, made sure the text fit and flow through, and just working through these things. So, and then let's see. All right. One of the big things that is super popular these days are graphic novels. What makes me very happy is finally people realize are cool to read. Always been, but now they're becoming a little bit more mainstream and educational based. So this is actually a graphic novel that is about a set in kind of a setting where the girl does not quite fit in with her character. The other characters have these familiars in their camp that are very nice, and they're cats and all that kind of stuff. But she ends up with this giant Saint Bernard dog. So just really nice images, great visuals, great way that the breaking out of the panes work. And graphic novels are super popular, and we love doing those. Those are just great to do, and fun to read. So that kind of takes most of our design stuff. So we've done, we look at fonts, we look at colors, we look at the target audience. We look at the size and some of the specs. We have bleeds, we do not have bleeds. Are A heads, B heads, C heads, are they taking you into the world you need to be, flowing with you? So there are a lot of things that we think about as we're doing these. And our normal process is, if you come to us with a project for design, especially, our normal process is to give you a couple options. We want to see what you like. We want you to be happy. We want to extremely be happy with what you want. So a few options to see things. Maybe this is very contemporary. Maybe this is maybe what you've already had, but just spruced up. And maybe this one out here is just like way out. So we want to make sure that we have options to think about as we're working on your project. And we get down to this things. We do a massive amount of tech art. A lot of our projects are online with Learnosity, as Dave said, and we do a giant amount of tech art. Thousands of pieces of these come through us all the time. We are constantly working on these kind of pieces of art. So we've got designers, illustrators, and tech art artists who this is what they do. They do a great job. We save them out in whatever format needs to be saved out. We have our editorial team supplies the spec. We create it, it gets proofed, and it goes up online somewhere. So we really are, a full service, whatever you need scenario. Right down to the point where Dave said if some of the projects require videography or photography or historical research, we've got pretty much covered. Like our production team is used to working with other projects like, I guess, woodwing, several things like that. We are very geared and set up to work with whatever your needs are. We would love to hear from you. And I think in the contact information, you've got, I know Dave's number, my number. Feel free to reach out and ask any questions, along the way.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. As you can see, the design team, production team, with their group of illustrators, with their group of tech artists, with their group of sort of story visualizers, can deliver exactly what you need. The graphic novel, as Mark was talking about, perfect for struggling readers. Haven't found that the traditional book is something that they love yet. A wonderful way to get into it. The stories are so visual and such an important way for students to get involved in that process. I do want to talk about two other things that we didn't really talk about earlier. One is that one of Westchester's Education Services specialties, at least from the editorial point of view to start, is customization of product. So as we have found in the last 7 to 8 months in the United States, that 2020 is all about customizing the curriculum to a particular student or a particular group of students. How are we going to teach where the teacher is in one place and the students are in another, and not just the ability to keep their attention up, which is something that a graphic novel absolutely could do, but also to make sure that we don't lose time in terms of teaching. So we've had, over the last 9 months or so, we've had a tremendous amount of customization. Print products that needed to be changed to digital products that needed to be changed to something that could be done asynchronously, not just synchronously. And we've worked through these projects with our clients as we were learning, as they were learning, as things were changing in real time. And I feel like the flexibility and like I said before, the diversity of the team is just a wonderful way to start a project like this. This is not just about that, one particular state doesn't like donuts and we change our donuts in the math problems to bagels. This is about an entire process that the customization allows us to take. So like I said, print to digital, digital to asynchronous learning so that the students don't miss out on anything. That the students can have a flipped classroom with videos and animations that they see before they get into it with the teacher. And we can help with all of those things for any of the core 4. Part of that customization that we've seen in the past 3 to 4 months, like I said before, are our culturally responsive reviews. Okay, what was okay before just 5 to 6 months ago, or what was, I should say, perceived as okay by the students, by the teachers, by the community, is no longer okay. And so we've done a tremendous number of projects where we look at existing text or text that's just about to come out and determine with our DEI experts whether it's really showing the best side of all of the people involved in the project, in the book, in the program. And it's not just about whether something is offensive. It's about really thinking deeply about how we can really produce the best book for all learners, not just one type of learner. And this process has been a really important part of working at Westchester and being part of the Westchester team. And we would love to help you out with this type of review, a CRE review. So please contact us when the time comes. I think that we have just a couple of minutes here. If there are any questions from the audience, I know that Mark and I threw a lot at you, but we wanted to make sure that you saw just how varied it is. On behalf of Mark and myself, Dave Bailis, and the entire Westchester team, we look forward to talking to you soon. And Nicole put all of our contact information in the chat box. And so we look forward to talking to you and see how we can help develop exactly the program that you've been looking for. Thanks a lot, and thanks for your time today.